Okay, we got an election coming up November the 8th locally, and we also have some national stuff going on, of course, which is pivotal. We already talked about a little bit about the election, but locally we have our city government election coming in place. We got our mayor. We've got two candidates fighting for that spot, Mr. Brian Nairn and Randy Carroll.
And then we got Lizzie Peoples.
Lizzie Peoples, that's right.
That's the two Republicans, what you were saying,
right,
and then we've got the independent, which is Lizzie Peoples.
All right, so we've got those going, and then we've got Ricky Overcast,
Bobby Turnbow, and Drew Hayes.
And that's for Ward 2.
Yeah, I'll call it the Southside District, over the river.
Southside Ward.
Yeah.
And then we've got Mr. William Christie and Karen Thrasher.
That's right.
We've got those also. And then there's another one, I can't think of what it is. Marilyn Ewing, she's
unopposed. That's right.
Unopposed. So that's going to be a close in all cases there, I believe.
Yes, it is. I think especially the South Side race between Drew Hayes, Bobby Turnbow, and the incumbent Mr.
Ricky Overcast. Right, so you've got all that taking place, and in the build up to this, it's got kind of nasty. I mean, there's been a lot of signs put out.
A lot of signs, and I mean, some of them you can't read driving by. They're long signs.
You got some paragraph yellow signs. You got to stop and take a picture and then read it later.
Hey, but they're getting to voice their opinion.
Yeah,
I respect
exactly.
that.
And then there was a smear campaign come out on a private citizen in the middle of this election.
That's what I've heard.
We'll get a mail out, which I don't even understand why somebody would do that.
Why would you do a private citizen like that way that has not even in. Anyways,
and then,
dumb stuff.
In the middle of a study session, and Times Gazette reported this, there were some racial slurs brought up toward a couple of our city council members, which in the year 2000, well, in any year.
So you're saying that a council member used
allegedly used a racial slur toward two of our council.
And it's 2022, people. I don't know where we got a leader in there that's using racial slurs.
No, not a leader, elected representative.
You're right.
They're not leaders.
You're right, and I always make that mistake. Y'all remember that too?
Yes, they're not leaders, they're elected representatives. Now, some of them think they're smarter than everybody else and want to lead, but we got leaders out here. That's another topic. In this day and time, for that to take place, there are going to be repercussions come probably next Tuesday.
Yeah, that's sad.
And
it's
that's
sad.
on November 8th.
It's a black eye for the representatives of our city, and I wish.
I didn't really want to bring this up, but it was on the headlines. Well, not in the headlines, but it was in an article in our paper. It was mentioned, and it's a sad day when a council member or council members have to listen to that kind of garbage.
That's right.
And the person, whoever said it, needs to be gone.
But I'd say the bright side of this is the two African American representatives we have, Gary Hale and Marilyn Ewing. They've got a better character than that, and they're right above that.
Yeah.
You're talking about two great people.
Yeah.
That's just that's unfortunate. That's sad. That's a sad situation for.
They have represented our city well, and they deserve better. And I'd like to publicly apologize if they had to sit up there and do that. And listen to it, and it's been on more than one occasion. And I'll say this election will probably clean it up. If it don't, it's going to get cleaned up one way or another. On November the 8th, we have that election taking place, which I think we're going to see some changes in our city government.
Yes.
We're going to hopefully see some big changes in our national government. State's probably going to stay the same. We've got the amendments going on, but then at the same very time that the elections close, there is a Bedford County Commission meeting.
Wow.
And at this meeting, they will be discussing the zoning of property in Longview that we've done
quite a bit of information on that.
Yeah, we've talked about it.
Planned unit development.
Well, it's about that piece of property being zoned.
Rezoned, but that's the plan.
Yeah, and the plan. There's a plan in place if it's rezoned.
Right.
All right. So we interviewed a lot of folks out at Longview. They voiced their opinion, and that vote comes up on November the 8th before the commission. The committee beforehand brought it up in an unfavorable recommendation, So now it's tossed to the commission to make a final decision on whether this land goes from agriculture to high density zoning,
But
high density residential.
Also, before it went to that rules committee, the plan commission did give a favorable recommendation.
Right, and before that, it was 5-4
Unfavorable.
So this has been back and forth
Yes.
since March. For the people that live there and for the developer that plans on building on this property, I hope they get something settled so both parties can move forward in a
I do too.
favorable manner.
I do too.
This type stuff, not having a clear-cut situation in place, creates this type of division, and we
There's
don't need
nothing-
it.
yeah.
I mean, our people out there, I learned a lot by talking to them. They're there for a reason, and they're there because it's quiet, and it's the country, and they moved there because they like country living,
Right.
and
And
they don't want to live in the city.
And how can you blame them?
No.
But that's that. Herein lies the problem now is with the comprehensive map that they have. They don't have a starting point when somebody comes in with a project, and they need a starting point to where we can say, well, this is where we'd like growth, or residential growth. This is where we'd like industrial growth. They don't have that in the county, and they have one, but it's really outdated. And but let me update the people. I did talk to Mayor Graham. They are in the process and have been for a while to get this going, and you should be getting something hopefully, soon. I can't put a time on it, but they are,
What's the process? What's the process that you go through there? Who decides?
Well,
that?
you hire a firm a lot of times.
But what does the firm do? Look at demographics.
They look
and stuff?
yes. Oh, it's a big study. It costs a lot of money. They look at it all, and then they use input from the planner and from people in the county, and they come with this ultimate plan. So
do
then
they
the
talk
plan
to the people?
No, yes, they do ultimately, but they get this plan, they bring it to the planner and the planning commission, then they look at it and they say, that looks okay, or they may not, and then they'll send it back for. So then once they get that, then they'll have what the city had actually this year when we updated our comprehensive plan. We had a public hearing, a public meeting where people could come for several hours to review that, and that's where the public input. But as far as this firm that's hired, they may go and interview. I mean, you ought to read the report. It is very detailed.
Okay.
It's
so
very
there's
detailed.
a possibility that there might be some citizens contacted by this firm.
There is a possibility.
Well, I think that's the key. Everybody moving forward together toward this plan, not just one or two people sitting in a room.
It definitely doesn't need to be made by some outsider coming in, but if it is made by an outsider, someone that can kind of absorb themselves into Bedford County and get a temperature, get a reading of how the county is, and not just the way it lays and where it's located, the way that the people, and that's the heart of. That's the heart of it.
I think that where the disconnect comes is when this gets brought before the commission. Commissioners have to ask for help, okay? Because they need to hear input. And I want to brag on Troy Thompson. Troy got active out in the Longview community. He listened to the folks. But when he was out voting, and he told me this, and he mentioned this in our interview, I said, I can take your vote, but I need your help more than anything else. I need to know what you want me to do.
That's what the job
what
a good commissioner should do.
So when this comes before the commission, every commissioner needs to say, hey guys, y'all need to get up here and give us some input on what you want us to do as far as future growth in Bedford County.
Definitely.
Because and that's when the ball gets tossed into the court of the public. And you have to publicize it. You can't just whisper it to somebody.
No, it's got to be a public, and everybody should have input.
Yeah,
and though your input may not be valid on everybody's, your input is your input. And you might, believe it or not, there might be more than one person that has that same input as you that could, that could change that.
And the thing about it, that don't need to be just one time. It needs to be a progressing thing, a process of, okay, here's some ideas. Okay, well, let's put it together. The commission come back and say, well, this is what our public wants. This is what our constituents want. Let's alter this plan a little bit. Then bring it back for one other look.
Yes, it should be. The state of Tennessee, the planning commission review it every 5 years. I think it's good practice to review it every year, because especially in fluid economic situation which we've been through, it changed by the months. you should always have a firm grip on your comprehensive plan, and your zoning map will be on the side. But have that comprehensive. It gives you a place to start. When somebody comes in, if you don't have, well, I don't know if that's allowed.
Yeah.
If it meets requirements, we need to know that, and we need to have a starting point.
Okay. All right. Let's change gears one more time. I posted on our Facebook page and put some news on the website about our airport property being bought by our city council. $3.5 million piece of property. Well, actually, it was paid. We paid $3.5 million for a piece of property that was appraised at 1.2. All right, we did that so that MTSU would not have to buy that property. But from my understanding, we could still sell it to them or lease it to them over a period of time so they could come in and bring their aerospace department in.
Right.
That is not in stone. That another source told me that's close to it, said they're in the negotiating standpoint of putting the paperwork together for that to become real. All right, we've had this debate before. What are the pros and cons for us to have this situation take place at our airport? Let's talk about that just for a second.
Well, I would say the pros will be having more. You'd have more traffic into the northern part of the county, and I don't know how much you'll get south. I know you're going to probably bring up some.
Do we need more traffic?
No, we don't need more traffic, but it's going to bring the more traffic.
Bring more traffic.
But it'll probably bring some more stores, convenience stores, maybe a little restaurants and things. It'll boost up things. It'll be a kind of a feather in the hat, for
Right.
Shelbyville. We've got MTSU, this is
okay. So here's the question I have. That's a pro. I mean, you could possibly have some commerce built around this. What's the upside as far as the airport goes? I know I've talked to people that have planes there, and they fly in and out of the Shelbyville airport. And for future growth in that area, having a commercial, not a commercial, but a small town municipal airport for business people coming in and out is different than having an instructional facility, which we're going to have a training facility.
But it'll be the same, or will they have their own facility? I guess
they'll have their own
both.
facility, but there's going to be an enormous amount of air traffic.
There will be.
The air traffic's going to like quadruple.
And I guess they've studied this and know this.
My question is, does the FAA have to approve it? I don't know. Anytime you build a new airstrip,
I would think so.
The FAA goes through a process.
They have to know.
Yeah, they have to know.
And ours right now, I think that it wouldn't affect that. I think a lot of airports we would just have more traffic than we're used to.
Well, we're going to have the same flight
pattern. And then if
pattern.
Tennessee Downs comes in, and then you get all the sheep
you're going to have people not wanting to fly into that airport because of the traffic.
It could be.
That's a con. Okay, so there's a lot of issues that have to be dealt with, and if this ball is in motion, you can't unwind it now.
No,
so,
we'll
see how it happens. I think we'll see Tullahoma picking up some air traffic from our place, and really that's about the next best airport, small town airport around.
I just wish they could have got it for a little cheaper there.
Well, it is what it is.
It is. The market works there.
My understanding is some of the council members didn't even know they were voting for it.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, and that's a shame too.
I've been waiting for those. I've been waiting for those minutes to come out from that meeting. It took place back in August, and this was done in September, and the deed was recorded on October the 4th.
Maybe we can dig those up and show them.
Well, there's no minutes from that meeting. They're left off the website, so hopefully they'll get those posted.
I'm sure they will. Sometimes they're a little...
get their story together.
Right.
So but anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll be back real soon with another edition Ahead of the Curve. I hope this has informed you on some things that are going on. Bo, thanks again.
Always.
Watch real soon, and thanks for watching.